Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin, and for today's video I have a book haul for you guys. I have been buying books for the past couple of months and just adding them to my physical TBR, and I feel like I have collected quite a number of books and I want to share them with you guys today. I did a little bit of damage and I told myself, I was like, at this point we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop right now. That's it for summer books that we're buying. I'm cutting it right there. I'm not going to buy any more books until the fall, so this is it for me in summer. This is my summer book haul. We're done after this. Now that I'm looking at all the books that I bought, you will notice that there is not a lot of romances. I feel like I am expanding my reading taste and I've just been craving something else other than romance. I've been a really big romance girly for the past like 2 to 3 years, and I feel like I'm slowly starting to like ease my way out of that, and I want to read things outside of romance or things that are not predominantly romance as part of the plot. So you're gonna notice that there's not too many romances in here, but that's okay. We love expanding our reading taste, and I do have some new releases that I'm really excited for. I have some debut novels as well that I'm really excited for. Let's go ahead and get started, because one thing about me, y'all know I talk too much in the intro of a video. I didn't really organize them by genre or anything. So the first book we picked up is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is a Penguin classic, or a classic in general, and I have been wanting to get into reading more classics, but I'm definitely someone who is going to ease my way into doing that, and I feel like out of most of the classics that I've seen, this is one that intrigues me the most given the premise of it. It's also not a super long classic. These pages are really crisp, and it was only $9. So that's great. We'll get to this one day. I'm thinking this is going to be a very good book to read in the fall. That's what I'm thinking, either the fall or the winter time. The next book I have is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake, and if you watched, I think it was a couple reading vlogs ago, I read Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, and that was the first book I'd ever read by her, and I loved it so much. I think that's my favorite book I've read so far in 2024, and I have just been dying to get into more of her work. I've seen people talk about this a lot. Definitely some mixed reviews in regards to this. Some people say it's like dark academia type of vibes, but I don't know. As long as there's an ensemble cast, which I think there is, I'm here for it. I know it's a series. I'm excited to start a new series, and I just feel like I love her writing so much, and I'm really gonna enjoy this one. Again, perfect for the fall time. I might start it in the summer, but I'm really excited to read this. The next one I have is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This is a book that I have been wanting to buy for a really long time, but I'm just always like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, for some reason, I've just been like, I don't really want to buy it right now, and I've seen a lot of people have really good things to say about this book. I think it's something that is marketed a little bit as a romance, but I think when people actually get into it, it's a little bit more than just a romance. It's a discovery of oneself type of journey, and I'm really excited to get into it eventually. I don't know when it's going to be. V.E. Schwab is an author that I've been wanting to read for the longest time, so I'm happy that this is going to be the first book that I'm going to be reading by her. And then the next book I have is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I love Leigh Bardugo. Six of Crows duology, it has my heart. Like, nothing, not nothing, but it is really hard to top that duology. I love those books so much, and I have been wanting to read more by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not super interested in the Shadow and Bone trilogy, but Ninth House is a book that I've kind of had my eyes on. I don't necessarily think this is like giving summer vibes necessarily, more so like fall and winter vibes, but I still picked it up anyways because it was on sale for buy one get one 50% off. I have seen some content warnings in regards to this book, and I'm very curious about it because I was shocked when I read it. I do think it is a bit more adult than young adult as compared to Six of Crows, but we'll see when we get into it. Similar to the Atlas 6, this is more dark academia, I guess, but one that I'm really interested in getting into as well. So this book is actually on my summer TBR. We're actually going to get to 3 books that I put on my summer TBR, but I am obsessed with the show Daisy Jones and the Six. I started watching it this summer, and it is hands down one of the best shows I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm addicted to it. I am addicted to the soundtrack, so of course I had to pick up the book. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo that Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote, and now that I'm obsessed with Daisy Jones and the Six, I needed to get more of the story. I needed to get more of Billy, Daisy, and Camilla, and just the whole band. We're following a rock band in the 70s and their rise and fall of fame, and it's just so complex and so drama-filled, and it's just incredible. I really want to rewatch it because I'm that obsessed with it, and I don't really rewatch a lot of things. It's not really a comforting show. I'm just obsessed, so I had to pick it up. The next book I have is Their Vicious Game by Joelle Wellington, and this is again another book on my summer TBR, and it's more of a thriller mystery horror type novel, which is something that I don't gravitate towards, but like I said, I'm really trying to expand my reading taste, and even though thriller, horror, mystery books low-key scare me, I want to dip my toes into them very, very slowly to see if the genre is something that I do like, but I like in a certain type of way. I don't know. I'm experimenting with my reading taste, and I feel like this is a good one to read. I believe our main character enters this high-stakes contest because she lost her scholarship to an Ivy League school, so she enters this high-stakes contest that this very rich family is hosting, and as she is playing in this contest, she very quickly learns to find out that winning comes at a high cost and that things are just crazy. I'm excited for it. I feel like a thriller book in the summer just eats a lot differently. Also, I'm obsessed with the cover. I think it's incredible. The next book I have, again, on my summer TBR, is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I love this cover so much. I really want to like this book because the covers in this series is gorgeous, or are gorgeous, and I want all of them, but I'm not trying to buy all of them and then hate the entire series, so I'm going to start with the first book, and I really, really hope that I like it. I want to enter my cowboy era, and I started Chestnut Springs by Elsie Silver, and I didn't like it, so I'm hoping that this one is more up my taste, like more up my speed. I feel like I will enjoy it, but who knows? Maybe cowboys aren't for me, maybe they are. We'll find out. I'm so excited to talk about the next book, you guys. So pretty. She's so pretty. Look at look at this. Look at this. Are you kidding me? And then when you open it, come on. Oh my gosh, and the bookmark. Oh my gosh. Children of Blood and Bone. Now we rise, now we fight, now we reign. Is there anything to say? This is the third and final book in the Children of Blood and Bone series by Tomi Adeyemi. I love Children of Blood and Bone. I've only read the first book. I know I need to read the second book. I'm on it, but this is the third and final installment to the series, and I had the pleasure of going to the book tour in Decatur, Georgia with my sister. Shout out to her for getting us tickets, and it was a very life-changing moment. I felt so healed just hearing Tomi Adeyemi speak about her journey writing these books and writing these characters, and just her journey as a writer in general, and I just really respect her so much as a human being, and I got to meet her and hug her and just, you know, she looked me in my eyes and was like, "What are your dreams?" And I was like, I don't know. I was like, do I have dreams? What's a dream? I don't know. But she's just incredible, and I'm so excited that I got a chance to see her and that I got this beautiful, beautiful copy of Children of Anguish and Anarchy. I'm going to read it. I don't know when, because I feel like part of me doesn't want the story and the journey to be over, but I need to read it. It's actually not even that big, so I'm kind of scared. Like, why is it short? Why is it so short? I'm nervous. So the next book I got is Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult and Jennifer Finney Bolin, and I picked this book up at Walmart very, very randomly. I was at Barnes & Noble's the day before, and I saw a girl reading this book, and she would not move from where she was standing at the Barnes, and because she was just like reading it and was so engaged with it, and I was like, you know what? Something must be in that book. And I haven't read anything by this author before, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick it up on a whim. And I think it's about bees, allegedly, but that's all I know. I want to go into books not knowing so much about them, and that's kind of it with a lot of these books that I have. I don't know a lot about a lot of them, and I think that's really exciting too, because I get to surprise myself. I don't go in with any expectations and things like that. So that's how it is with Mad Honey. Now that I think about it, I don't think I bought the Atlas 6 in the past 3 months. I think I bought this way, way earlier. Technically, this is not a summer book haul buy, but it is what it is. The next book I have is a book that I've been dying to get my hands on this book. Dying to get my hands on this book, but I've been pushing it off. Like, I'm gonna wait. I couldn't wait anymore. I had to pick this book up. One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. And similar to Masters of Death, the illustration, I will say, I do think Masters of Death, the illustrations in that one has this one beat just a little bit, but it's still gorgeous. I am on a mission to read every single book by this author. It has to happen. And this one, I think I'm going to read this one before I read the Atlas 6, because this one's part of a series and this one's a standalone. And I believe this one is like a Romeo and Juliet retelling type of storyline where there's two families, two characters within those two families that are rivals fall for each other. We'll come and find out. Oh, it's about witches too. Oh my gosh. I'm here for it. The next book I have is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, I think is how you say his last name. I have been seeing this book on my For You page more recently, within like the past like month or two, and it wasn't a book that initially caught my eye, but I think the way that I saw some people talk about this book, that it was just really eye-opening for them, and it really made them ponder and reflect on certain things within their life. I was like, you know what? I want to read it. It's not a long book, and I feel like the premise is really, really interesting. Our main character is transported to the Midnight Library, where each book contains contains an alternate life, a possible world in which she made different choices. So I guess the book is essentially about having regrets in your life and wondering what would my life look like if I made a different choice, if I made a different decision, and kind of pondering that as a question to reflect on. So I'm really excited to read this one. Okay, now we're getting into a new release. We're getting into a new release that I'm so excited for, and that is none other than A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, and this one is gorgeous. I have been itching and dying to get my hands on this book. This is one of the releases that I was super excited for in the second half of 2024, and I'm finally happy that I have my hands on it. This book, I think, follows our main character who finds herself in a unfinished love story that one of her favorite authors wrote, and she believes she is in this love story because she should finish it. However, there is a man in this story that doesn't want her to finish it, and I guess we're gonna find out why, and I'm excited for it. This book has a little bit of magical realism, you know, which I feel like is a thing with Ashley Poston's book, The 7-Year Slip. If you haven't read it, go read that book. So good. That one had magical realism in it, and I think her other book before that one, I can't think of the name right now, The Dead Romantics, I think that one also had magical realism. So maybe that's her thing. It's working. The next book I have, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and this one was kind of a random purchase. I've seen this book a lot. People say that it's very whimsical, it's very cozy. Anytime I would watch any like fall book recommendation videos, I would always see this book, especially when they were talking about cozy romances or something that's a little bit more on the lighter side for fall. And even though I know it's not fall, I was gravitating towards this book. I think this author has released another book, and I want to see if I like this one because the other book did catch my eye. So we're gonna see if I like it. But I'm excited to read this whenever the time is. Maybe it's summer, maybe it's fall. We'll find out. Ooh, the next two are good ones. So another new release that I had been itching to get my hands on, and that is none other than Little Rot by Ekweke Emezi. Let me tell you the journey to get this book. I went to 3 different barns yesterday. I went to the first barn, which is my go-to barns, and they didn't have it, even though they said they did on like the online website. They didn't have it. So they were like, oh, this other Barnes has it that's like 20 minutes away. So I was like, bet, I'll go to that one. I go to that one. They have 1 copy. The copy's damaged. And I was like, I'm not paying $30 on a hardback that's damaged. No. So then I was like, I'm gonna go to another Barnes that's another 20 minutes away. And they had also just 1 copy, but it wasn't damaged. Thankfully, I got the book. And I'm so excited that I got this book because it's so pretty. And I know I'm saying it's so pretty, but the content inside the book is not very pretty. It's very dark. It's very violent. Definitely check out the content warnings and trigger warnings for this book. I've read The Death of Vivek Oji by Ekweke Emezi. That was the first book that I read by them, and it was hands down one of my favorite books of 2023. I loved their writing. I loved the story so much. It was definitely a painful one, but I'm so excited that I got a copy of it, and I definitely am adding it to my summer TBR. The next book I picked up was definitely another random purchase because I'd only seen one other person on social media talk about this book. I'm interested in Black books. I feel like I've mentioned her on my channel before. I love her. She has such good book recommendations, and I'm on a mission to read a lot of her book recommendations, but she posted a picture with this book that I'm going to show you guys, and she hasn't posted a book reflection yet, but I picked it up because she said that a lot of people had really good things to say about this book, and it is this author's debut novel, which I love reading authors' debut novels because I feel like that's such a very exciting time for an author. Even when I was checking out, the bookseller was like, oh, I've heard really good things about this book, and I was like, bet, I'm excited to read it. And that's none other than Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. I hope I'm saying his name right. I don't know much about what this book is about other than I've heard that there's a lot of anguish in the story. It's extraordinary. It's very telling. This author is an amazing writer, so I'm really excited to tap into this work. I kind of want to do a video of reading author debut novels and kind of seeing if I want to continue reading that author's work moving forward. So maybe you guys will see a reading vlog with this book in it, but I'm really excited to read this. I have very good feelings about this one. We have 4 more. My heavens. I don't need to buy any more books. I have an explanation for the next 2 books. So a couple weeks ago, I read Bohemian by Catherine Nolan. It's a romance novel. It's amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. There was a lot of talk about books that both of the characters read because they're both really big book lovers. Our main girl character, she was a poet, so she had a lot of favorite like poems and poets that she loved and talked about. And then our male main character also loved reading more into like just fiction and nonfiction and like sci-fi and things like that. So they talked so much about authors and they talked so much about books. I bought 2 books that were mentioned in that book. So the first one I picked up is Mary Oliver Devotions, and these are selected poems of Mary Oliver. And I am not the biggest fan of poetry. It's just not like my go-to thing to read and to pick up. I'm trying to expand my taste, and I'm trying just different things. The way Mary Oliver was mentioned in Bohemian, I really wanted to read her work. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a collection of her poems. I'm gonna go through them every single day, just a couple, and see if I like them or not. I've read a couple of them so far, and so far some of them are really good and I really like. I want to continue reading it. Maybe I'll become a poetry girly. Maybe I won't. I don't know. And the next book I bought is Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer. This was the book that the guy was reading and he mentioned it a couple of times. I know nothing about Henry Miller. I know nothing about the Tropic of Cancer. I bought it because he kept talking about it and I was like, maybe it's a good book. If you've read this book, if you know anything about this book, let me know in the comments because I have no idea. We are now down to our last 2 books of this book haul. I'm actually really excited to read these 2 books, but the next one I have is The Rabbit Hutch by Tess Gunty. I borrowed this book from the library a couple months ago and I never got to it and I was very annoyed that I didn't get to it before I had to return it because somebody else wanted to read the book. So I was like, you know, I'm just gonna buy it. I follow some incredible people on Bookstagram and I think her name is Read by Kayla and she said this was one of her favorite books, I think of 2023. And I was like, okay, you have good taste. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm going to read it. I don't know too much about this book. Again, I want to go into some of these books pretty blind, but I do know that a lot of people really, really do love it. And I do know that the writing is something that a lot of people rave about when it comes to this book. So I'm really excited to get into it. Definitely one that I want to read this summer. Also, the cover is beautiful. The cover is eating. We've made it to our last book of this haul. This is one that I picked up, put back, picked up, put back so many times when I was in Barnes. And for some reason, the last time I went, I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy it because obviously I am drawn to this book in some way, shape, or form. And that is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. I don't know what it is about this book as to why I am so drawn to it. I think it's because when I read Bohemian, again, bringing it back to Bohemian, it made me appreciate books in a different way than I feel like I hadn't in a really long time, and appreciate the art of writing and appreciate writers who just love writing. And I'm excited to read this. I've seen a lot of people read this book. I've seen a lot of people love this book. I want to join. I want to join the topic. I want to join the conversation. I want to join the discussion. One thing about me is I have bad case of book FOMO, and this is one that I felt like I just need to read. A lot of writers love this book, which I think is another reason that I really wanted to read it. I'm not a writer, but I love reading about writers and I love learning about writing and just the craft in general. I'm very fascinated by it, and I felt like reading Bohemian, it kind of furthered my fascination for writers, and I just want to learn more. Maybe one day I'll write something. I don't know. I can't write to save my life, but maybe I will. Maybe this book will inspire me. Who knows? Who knows what can happen when you're inspired? That was a lot of books. Like, whoo, chow. That's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Y'all can't even see my face, bro. Hello. I'm not even gonna try and hold this up because that is just going to be a disaster in the making. But I bought 19 books. Well, more so 18 books because the Atlas 6, Wherever You Are, I feel like I did not buy that book within the past 3 months. I feel like I bought that book earlier because I'm pretty sure it's in a previous reading vlog. So I'm not so sure about this one. That is a lot of books, but I'm super excited to get to them and to read them and add them to my collection. There is no greater joy than going to Barnes and going to Walmart, going to Target, going to any bookstore and just buying books and taking these books home with you and putting them to your shelf or putting them on your shelf and being like, I'm gonna read you guys one day. Just adding to your collection just makes me so happy, and there's no greater joy than that. And I'm very grateful that I can buy these books and I am excited to read them. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts. Let me know which book out of all of these that I should read next. What books have you recently bought? Let me know what books you've recently bought as well. But that is it for today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one.